I am Riley.
My name's Cal, and we talk about anything you talk about on the couch with your best bro. Played all these maps, and many in the community would agree that this map is generally overall hated.
He's going at it vigorously.
So no evidence then, poor deluded twat.
I am an extremely passionate aviation enthusiast in my free time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of the Couch Co-op podcast. I'm joined by Cal as always, and we're bringing back Scully, a series favorite here. So, yeah, what's going on with you?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be back for like the fifth.
Yeah.
I know this is at least 4 or 5. I'm assuming 5 because you had me on for like a few of them at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep you on retainer, okay?
Hey, I mean, whatever keeps this channel alive, you know?
All right.
How about you, Riley? How are you, man?
Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, my everything's kind of packed up behind me. All my posters are down. I just have the lights that I need up here, because this light sucks, so I have to use these like Christmas lights. But yeah, I mean, everything is off the walls. Everything, all my Legos are put away. I just got the PlayStation and my laptop out, pretty much. Yeah, boxes everywhere. It's even worse in the other rooms, but that's fine. Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm moving on Thursday, last Thursday the 30th, so of this November. So yeah, very excited to do that, and I'll be on the road for the whole weekend. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. How about you, Cal? How are you?
I'm good. I have a house full, like I told Riley about. Just some family stuff going on, but it's to be expected. Big news. Riley, do you have something to tell us?
I have a confession.
Maybe a confession to make.
So
No, I was excited to see that. I'm curious what you have to say about it.
yeah, so I finally found that old pair of underwear under my bed that was stinking up my room. So yeah, that's the news, guys. Bye.
All right.
No.
Well,
So no,
that's it for this podcast.
yeah.
Were they Activision underpants?
yeah, exactly.
That would explain
Just a picture of
that,
Bobby Kotick on.
That would explain this thing.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about Modern Warfare 3, zombies mostly, and all of us here all have a deep background in the mode, and we care for it a lot, right? And you know, we had talked about it last, and we had seen gameplay and stuff, and you said this, Cal, like, right? I want to be wrong about our like assumptions about the mode and like what we saw about it, and what we didn't like, and all the negative stuff, and I couldn't agree more with that. So I'm like, it was on sale for like $10 off from the PlayStation Store, so I bought the game, right? I saw a lot of mixed stuff that we talked about last time too, right? A lot of good and bad, but I'm like, all right, there's just too much up in the air right now. I just want to see for myself what the game is like. So I got it, I booted it up, I've played it for about 10 hours now. Pretty much only zombies, except for like 2 matches of multiplayer. So think maybe like 10 to 15 rounds of zombies in total. And I made a little pro and cons list here that we're going to go through, and my general thoughts on the mode, and maybe you guys could elaborate what you think about it too. So yeah, one thing that I do love about it is, and this is, just buckle up, okay, this is going to be a minute of me just talking here. So Yeah, one thing that I absolutely love about it is the player base. The people who are positive about the game really love it, and the community around this mode in particular is nothing like I've seen in any other zombies mode or barely any other like gaming community. So it has a total of like 24 players or something like that, like on this massive map. And you spawn in like groups of three, and but you can still interact with other players and stuff. They're just not like a part of like your squad's activities. But you can actually request to join and leave your squad, or join new ones. But and this kind of like, so people are very generous with what they get and like give away. So for like I've seen a lot of clips where people just give out like ray gun schematics or Wonderwaff schematics or pack a punch upgrades, right? Because that's how the mode works. You like pick up different items from the while you're playing the game. You take them into your inventory, into your like stash, into the menu, and then you if you get a schematic, you can um reoccurringly craft that item that you got the schematic for. So, for example, right, if you get a ray gun schematic, you can keep crafting the ray gun over and over again. Although the one this leads into a negative though, the cooldowns. Because if you keep you can't just keep crafting stuff over and over and over again. Like you can't just spawn in with a ray gun for every match. You have to. I think the wonder weapons are something crazy like a 24-hour cooldown. You have to wait an entire day in real time to craft another ray gun or wonder weapon. And this um, and with the if you lose and you die in a match, your whole inventory goes. Your everything that you had, pretty much everything. That wasn't already in your stash in the menus. So if you lose your like loadout weapon, your insured slot weapon that you don't lose it, but if you go into the menus after you died, you can't use it. There's a cooldown on that too for 1 hour. Then you have to wait to use your insured slot again, which I find that really annoying. I think cooldowns in zombies are infuriating, and especially something like this. And DMZ had this problem last year where they started adding like pay for convenience things in shop bundles, and I got a feeling that's gonna creep up on this mode too. Whether or not it's in the cooldown part, I don't know quite yet, but kind of going on to something else too. You need to have friends who play this game too, which I do not. Well, I have like one or two friends that do, but they always have squads, so I don't ever play with anyone. I have to get stuck with randoms, which is we don't know how that goes in multiplayer games. So yes, this game is not solo friendly in the slightest. I was doing this contract to finish out some of the Act 1 missions so that I can get a second insured slot so I can bring in two, like, souped up weapons from the gunsmith. But I died, and it was terrible because I was the only one there. I didn't go in with randoms. I just went in solo, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I could do this, right? I could do this. I didn't do it. But... And I actually posted a clip of this on my channel. So if you go on my channel, I posted a clip of like this 2-minute segment where I was doing this like Ethereum harvest thing where you have to, or like 3 missiles come down, they drop down, and then you have to like explode each one of them. But at each one of them, there's AI mercenaries, and that's another con too. Mercenaries, anything that shoots bullets back at you in zombies sucks because it shreds your armor, and you are just like squashed with a bit of a finger if your armor is shredded, especially by people with guns, and it sucks. So that's another thing. But anyway, right? So yeah, I was like, all right, I got this. And then like the mall who I was talking to while I was playing this started telling a story about some guy at his workplace with kidney stones, and then I died, and then so I had no one on my team. I was in the top right corner of the map. There was no one around me. If you open up the big map with this button right here, you can see the whole map. Well, you can also see every other player that's on the map, right? And even if they're not in your squad. So here's what happened. I open up the text chat. I'm like, someone please help me. I can't lose all my stuff. I'm all alone. There's no one up here. A few minutes goes by. Someone's like, where are you? I'm like, okay. I too, you use the grid to say where you're at. So, and then like 5 minutes later, this lone wolf runs from like the very bottom corner of the map all the way up to me and he revives me. And that was like, that's a positive in my opinion, kind of going back to the player base thing because people just help you out no matter what. It's awesome. So, um, yeah. Speaking of the map though, the map is. I still have issues with the whole like visual style of the game because it still doesn't look like what I think zombies should. It's not like playful or cartoony or anything like that. It's very serious with a little sprinkle of like the purple crystals and stuff in Cold War, but it's nothing like what it used to be. Um, let's see here. What else have I got? Uh, yeah, the map itself is fine, I guess. I mean, it's just a big map, just a big dumb map. There's not much to say about it. It's not like a round based map where it's small-ish and confined, and every detail is made with care and passion. But I'm not saying this isn't, but it's a far cry from that. I don't really have a way to describe the map, but I think it's just fine. Um, the camo system. If you are someone who likes to grind Call of Duty and like get camos in the higher tier ones like Dark Matter or whatever, this is your game. This is the perfect game for that because not only do you have Modern Warfare 3 weapons that have the camo for the I'm just gonna say dark matter because I don't know what they're actually called, but the dark matter for multiplayer and zombies. But you also have Modern Warfare 2 weapons in there, and you can get dark matter for those on in Modern Warfare 2, in Modern Warfare 3 zombies and multiplayer. I know it's confusing, but uh, so yeah, that's pretty cool. There's like four separate camo grinds in there. It's definitely something for those kinds of players. The timer I'm not a fan of still. It's timed zombies is just not for me. And from what I've seen, it's not for really anyone either. I just don't think that a timer should be in zombies. Like they introduced the timer. They put the timer in one of the Outbreak Easter eggs in Cold War, and people didn't like that. So I don't know why they brought that back for this mode, but it just it doesn't collide with the flow and gameplay of zombies for me. Um, hmm. Yeah, I mean, just to kind of wrap it up, I think that it's a baby from Outbreak, right? That's kind of what people see this as, and I think that this is much better than Outbreak. I think that the world is better and more expansive, and the contracts and stuff are more challenging, and there's definitely more of them than Outbreak. I think. Um, yeah. So, so far I don't regret buying it. Um, yeah. That's pretty much all I've got to say about it. So.
You got what do you got to say, Scully?
Well, after that, I don't know what I could say to top that off. The magnificent speech you gave, Riley.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead.
What I will say is like I think in some aspects of the game, I think certain people are going to like the game more than others, and so like I'm still not going to buy the game, but I'm not going to like dog on people who actually play the game and enjoy it, because like there's no point, because like if you already say like, hey, I'm not buying the game, and then you're gonna dog on somebody that likes genuinely likes the game, it's like you're just creating hate for no reason, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, I'd rather play like Cold War's Outbreak over the DMZ, just because there is no time limit. You could basically stay in an area pretty much much longer than you could on DMZ. Just for me, it doesn't interrupt the flow. The only thing that interrupts it really is just going to different areas.
Yeah.
And you know, multiplayer. I mean, if you like remastered maps, then a lot of people like remastered maps because it's very familiar territory for them. But for me personally, I I'm still not gonna buy the game, and I think like if you buy the game, it's your decision basically. So like yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts for now on MW.
Yeah, no, that's good and very, very good, insightful input, Riley. I've thought about trying it out because I did. You quoted me, and I did say that. Like, I want it to work. Like, I want nothing more than for every zombies mode to succeed, so the mode just keeps going, and the older modes get more popular, and more people play them, and you keep making content on them. But going through, I want to walk everyone through like an order of events here real quick. So World at War included zombies and it was a surprise mode. Like there was nobody knew about it. Like it was really just like a hidden Easter egg that the developers made that they had no idea that would be as popular as it is. And then they started adding expansions to that and payable DLC, which was a big thing back in the day. You know, you have to buy it. I don't want to do that. And then Black Ops 1 came out and the game was amazing, perfect in every way. Maybe not like super accessible to like new people. And Black Ops 2 came out, and I would say Black Ops 2 was slightly worse in accessibility. Like it was slightly worse. Like it was just it seemed to be harder, and like you had Transit as the on disc map, and Transit's hard. Like Transit is a hard, yeah, it stinks. But it's still like you go play. I don't know. Have you guys played Transit lately and just like been like, oh, this is actually like, but this is zombies. Like this is I don't know. Do you guys ever play Transit? You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
talking about?
I think back then everyone was jumping on the bandwagon saying Transit is a shit. But
Yeah.
going back to it, and we have more zombie maps. It's not the worst map. It really isn't. It may have like technical flaws, like the lava and the pack a punch and the jet like breaking all the time. But like for what it's worth at the time, they did try to go for it.
Yeah, and I would say that's big for me. That's Black Ops 2's biggest flaw is they didn't know when to innovate and when not to innovate. And Transit was just too big and too confusing for most people. I don't think it's a bad map. I just think it is misunderstood and what they were trying to get out of it. But then you had the ending of Black Ops 2, which was Origins, which is a great map. It's huge. It is a big map. There's a lot to do on it, but it understood. Like I feel like that's where Zombies really got its foothold. That's when the community was like, wow, this is amazing. And that's when the developers were like, okay, we know what we need to do now. We need to replicate that. And then Black Ops 3 comes out. Black Ops 3 was amazing. I don't care what anyone says, greatest game ever, like for me personally. Like I absolutely love Black Ops 3. The zombies was amazing. All the maps are good. None of them were lackluster. People hated on Zetsubo, but if you look at Zetsubo now compared to what we're getting, like, um, dude, like, what were you complaining about with Zetsubo? And then, okay, and then here's my point. At some point in this timeline, the developers started looking at people that had completed their Easter eggs. So completed the in-game quests. If you aren't a zombies person, they call them the main Easter egg, and the percentage of players that actually completed this was very, very low, like in the lower than I think 1 or 2% in most of the cases, like very low. And so then they took Black Ops 4 and in some ways they tried to make it more accessible. Like they had basically an easy mode, but then with the easy mode you couldn't actually do the Easter eggs. It had to be on normal mode, but they gave you a shield. And so what they are trying to accomplish is making their Easter eggs easier for people to get to, but Black Ops 4 didn't do it right. Like the Easter eggs are still hard. Like the Blood of the Dead Easter egg, I think is the hardest Easter egg to do. Like it is incredibly complicated. But then we had other games in there such as Infinite Warfare, World War II, and these games were good, but where it really changed and where developers, I feel like they really tried to make it accessible was Cold War. And they boasted about Cold War because it was so accessible. Like there was a huge, I think it was like 20 to 30% of the players, I don't remember the exact number, but it was around there, had completed the Easter egg on D Machina. And that was huge. Like that was so much more than what had happened before that. So my point is, uh, uh, what I've seen with Modern Warfare Zombies is concerning to me because they changed the mode up. They went Cold War's direction because they wanted it to be more accessible, which Zombies was never really about being accessible. It was about like the few that had were able to do it, or that's how I took it. The few that were able to do the Easter egg, or the chosen ones, or however you want to look at it. But they claim that they're going for accessibility, but what I've seen in Modern Warfare Zombies is it's not accessible. Like it is, like you said, it's not solo player friendly. And I think what they were going for with that is, well, you've got 23 other people you can ask for help. Like, but it's still not solo friendly. And I'm mostly a solo player, so that's what like really that's what's getting me about it. I saw someone comment on it, and I would agree. Like they claim they're going for accessibility, and then they make this huge, enormous mode that has a red zone. And I don't know, Riley, have you been into the red zone? From what I've seen, it's incredibly difficult. Like you have to be geared out for the red zone.
It's a nightmare. Um, I because of the timer, I've never been prepared in a single match to go into the red zone properly. I've only ever like drove in, almost get killed, use the Wonder Fizz because that's where the Wonder Fizz machine is, where like all the perks are kind of centralized into one machine. That's what the Wonder Fizz is. So I bought all my perks and then I got out of there. I've never done any contracts or killed any enemies or anything in there, and I'm not gonna do that for a long time because I don't have a squad to play with. So I'm sure as hell not doing it solo. So yeah.
So my point is bringing the timeline into it, because people like the newbies, you can say, like with Outbreak, they liked Outbreak because it was easy and it was accessible and all this stuff. And I would say Outbreak was very accessible, like super easy to do. Oh, you can just drive around and have fun. And I think that, like Riley said, I think it's the time limit that really makes it not accessible. And I think that should go away personally. Um, like I said, I really want the mode to be a success. I think that if it's successful, it will bring more people to the other zombies modes. But I, I'm worried about it because it doesn't seem accessible at all. I mean, that's my personal opinion on it. But like, if they're going for accessibility and they changed the core aspects of the mode to make it more accessible, and they were so proud of what they did in Cold War, and maybe Gulf War or whatever the next one's supposed to be, supposedly. Thanks, Mr. Dog JD. Um,
You weren't supposed to
if
say
they,
that.
yeah, if they keep that up, like, okay, but this isn't accessible. Does that make sense where I'm coming? Like, if you're gonna like stick with the accessibility, then so the mode can be more popular, but this is way harder than it needed to be. I guess is kind of where I'm coming from. But I don't know.
Zombies has also never had this kind of like risk versus reward system either. And I think that's going to turn a lot of people off. Because I was turned off by DMZ when that happened. When that happened. That happened being me bringing in a bunch of stuff from the menus, going into the game and dying and then losing it all. That's what happened. So I didn't play DMZ after that. But yeah, I don't want to go down this like stupid Elden Ring route where people are arguing whether there needs to be like an easy mode or whatever. I think that there just needs to be a private match, and that's it, where you can play solo or whatever, right? Solo mostly. And maybe, I don't know.
I think, not to interrupt you, I think
Yeah,
if they got rid of the time limit, it's perfect from what I've
right.
seen. Like, I think that would make it perfectly accessible. You wouldn't be stressed because it's like, can you imagine doing the Der Eisendrock Easter egg in under 45 minutes? Like, not many people can do that. Like,
Hmm.
even the really good people maybe can do that. But sorry, that's
Yeah.
I
Well,
interrupted. But
adding on to that, right? I feel like I feel like people have different ways of viewing how they feel the most powerful or how they feel the most geared out. But I feel like with adding a time limit, they kind of limit that, right? Because now you're only limited to doing this amount of stuff during a match. And while yes, you can bring in things from previous matches or whatever, it's just not the time limit. I feel is completely against the flow of what zombies should be, which is taking your time or speed running through it, if whatever you want to do, right? You can spend to within reason an unlimited amount of time on like a round based map, right? Like you can spend however long you want to on there, but this you just can't. It's I don't know. That's kind of all I have to say about it.
Well, I also saw. I think that they, to play devil's advocate, I think they do it to keep it balanced in that they don't want people to do everything they can in one match and then be done with the mode. I kind of get it. I just it just seems not player friendly. Like I saw that they nerfed. I saw people talking about it. I guess on the exfil, if you hit the exfil button, there would be a ton of zombies that would come in, and people were exploiting that to just level up weapons like crazy. And they went in and patched that, and I'm like, I just, I don't know. It doesn't seem player friendly to just like you're making the game, you're extending people's time in the game by just removing things that don't need to be removed. Like if people want to grind it fast, let them grind it fast. Like I don't know. I don't get the not being friendly to your players in that way, like just taking stuff away that doesn't really need to be taken away. I don't know. If it's a god mode exploit, sure, but I mean, it just seems like a good way to level up to me. But anyways,
Right.
That's why I think like Cold War's Outbreak is like the better Outbreak of the two if you're gonna like go Outbreak versus Outbreak, because it literally like on the first wave you could literally have the chance to make yourself as overpowered as possible to go into like the like further wave, and like you can do like side objectives too, which are like give you decent amount of loot for what it's worth. And you can like if you start on Duga, you can get like the die if you do the trials, and you can get the Electro die, and it's pretty much like the best weapon used on Outbreak against like the orders and mini boss, all that stuff. So, and the fact that you don't have a time limit on it either, you can just spend all your time there just grinding, just trying to get it. Once you get it, you pack up shit, and then you go to wave 2, 3, 4, however long you want to be there for. And the only time limit really is like how long do you want to be there for, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the exfil, and then camo grind or kill zombies or whatever you need to do for your challenges, and then you just do it and repeat.
yeah, that's no, I agree with you, Scully, and I guess that's my point is just doing things to artificially make people spend more time in the game just has always annoyed me. Like there are nerfs that make sense, like the Shadows of Evil Wonder Weapon. Nah, I'm spacing on the name.
Apothicon Servant.
Apothicon Servant.
Yeah, the Apothicon Servant. Thank you. On launch, you could pack a punch that, and it was extremely overpowered for that map because the Apothicon Servant is already overpowered for that. So I get that. Like people didn't really like it that they had taken it away, but I get it. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just feel like game developers, it's like a mobile game. It's like a mobile game, and this is you kind of mentioned the timer, the what they call it in the game, the
Cooldowns.
cooldowns. Yeah, sorry, I'm in a weird place tonight, but it's like playing a mobile game like Clash of Clans. Like as you get farther into the game, they make you take longer and longer to upgrade stuff, and what they're hoping that you will do is you'll buy more stuff while you're in the game. Like you can buy this potion that makes your builders build in Clash of Clans faster. It's the same thing. Like maybe if they spend longer in the game, they'll see a cool skin, or when we inevitably put skins in that are pay to win, that they'll want this skin. I'm really against that. Like your game should people should want to play your game because it's a good game and they want to put the time in to play the game. Like that's how Classic Zombies was, and I don't want to be like too Classic Zombies here, but that's like the mode was so good that people wanted to spend time. Like they didn't have to put these useless little cooldowns so people would spend more time in the game. So I just feel like they're afraid that if they didn't have the cooldowns and the time limit, people would burn through the content they had in a day. But yeah, so
I mean, like that's why Black Ops 3 Custom Zombies still exists because like you still get the maps that people like and love, and you don't have to sacrifice anything for it really. And like people in the community that make them know that what they're making will satisfy at least somebody. May
yeah,
not be like DMZ level, although that like Victus custom map that came out, it was like a custom outbreak mode for Black Ops 3. I think that version of Outbreak is pretty solid for something that came out in custom.
yeah, for sure. Well, you got anything else to say about it, Riley?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Just a generalization, right? I am enjoying it, and I'll continue to play it. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. So
Cool. Well, maybe I'll see what happens.
I mean, maybe in the future I'll buy it, but just it as it is now, it's just there's just no way I'm winning
Yeah.
unless they come out with some like non mode that can actually chill out and play zombies. Then it's there's no point to the game.
Yeah. What else you got for us, Riley?
yeah, so um,
I have a question, but I didn't want to interrupt if you had another segue that you were going into.
no, go ahead.
Do you guys so I've noticed this trend lately of older games that get popular in the gaming community for who knows what reason. Zombies is probably a good example of that. Like zombies, the popularity kind of goes up and down and up and down. But I've been seeing a lot of the bigger streamers lately playing World of Warcraft, the hardcore mode. Have you guys seen that?
No.
I have no.
So what it is have you either of you played World of Warcraft ever?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Okay. So basically it's a role playing MMOR or whatever game. MMORPG game. You make your
RPG
character
game.
and you do all these questing and you get to the end of the game and you can do all these raids and get better gear and stuff. Well, what Blizzard did is they made a hardcore mode to that. So if you die, like your character's gone. And it really does seem like more of a streamer game, like a streamer viewer game. Like the viewers want to see if their favorite streamer can make it to level 60 and and not die and lose their character. And it does have a lot of entertainment value. Watching I think that her name's Emiru and Mizkif. They were playing, and Emiru, who's, I don't know anything about her, I just know the name. She died and she lost all of her progress, and so it's kind of funny to watch. But it's interesting to me, like I like the idea of a game company going and changing their core game in a way like that that makes it more interesting for people to play. So and then the big streamers catch on and everyone wants to go and see if they can play this hardcore mode. My question for you guys is twofold. Is there a game you would like to see revitalized, and what is that? And would you guys ever consider playing World of Warcraft?
No.
Go
Well,
ahead, Scully.
what if there was a game you would like to see revitalized, Scully, to just be like hugely popular again? It's not World of Warcraft's not for everyone, but what would that be for you, Scully? Besides zombies, because that's an obvious one for us.
Oh, really? I was just gonna say zombies.
I mean, if you really want to, you can, but
No. I think we said enough about zombies that we don't need to. It's the milk is run dry at this point. One game I would like to see though is like Jack and Dexter, like revitalized. It's not like a multiplayer kind of game, but it's a good platformer, and like on that like the old platformer game like like Mario and uh, I don't know many platformer games, but like Jack and Daxter, Mario, because some but like yeah, like those games, I think a lot of streamers. Like it would be like good content to see like who could actually like go all the way to the bosses.
Gotcha. What about you, Riley?
Yeah. So I the first one that comes to mind, it's actually two games because it's kind of like an original and a sequel that you can't talk about one without mentioning the other, and it's Transformers: Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron. I love those games on the PlayStation 3, and again, like Scully said, these ones are solo single player games for the most part. There's a multiplayer mode, but I never touched it. The single player mode was, or the campaign, the story mode was just perfect, man. Graphically, it was amazing. The Transformers designs were amazing. The story was so cool. The gameplay was awesome. You could play as I think his name's Gridlock, the T Rex Transformer. That was awesome. Just a lot of super fun missions, and I would love to see a remaster of those personally. I know, like, I've been like trashing remasters or what, but that if there were like two games, or these two would be it, because I wanted so bad to play these again, but my PlayStation 3 is old, and you can't play them on a PlayStation 4 or 5, and you can't buy them anymore. You can't find any discs, nothing. I so badly want to play those games again, because I know that I was maybe like 10 years old when I first played them, and I sucked at the game. And I think now, when like 10 years later, like, yeah, I can actually play those not like a bot this time. So, yeah, definitely those games.
What about, would you play World of Warcraft?
Uh, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like the type of game for me personally. Like, here's the thing with me. I've I've played a lot of video games in my life, and I don't really want to like break out of my mold too much in gaming. I just kind of want to stick to what I know and just keep playing those games like Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, Minecraft, Fall Guys, whatever. Right, just whatever I've been playing for a while. So probably not just to not like sink my teeth into another like new franchise, I suppose.
Oh, that's understandable. I actually used to, so when I was a youngin, I couldn't afford it. And see, but back then, I'm way older than you guys. Um Back then World of Warcraft was huge and it was like actually good. Like I guess the retail version of it right now is terrible and nobody likes it. Not even the people that Blizzard pays to play the game basically. Um but I figured out with my buddy how to make a private server, and they ended up getting into the people that made them. They got into a lawsuit, and Blizzard shut them down. No, go figure, you know. So I actually used to play it. I don't know if I could really get into it now. I just don't have the time. It's a huge time commitment. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of hours, you know. But that's not what I was. That's not my one I would like to see revitalized. But I used to play it if I had time, maybe. But um, the game I would love to see be revitalized because I think it's such a good game. It was this old, and I play more action shooter games. RTS, real time strategy aren't really my thing. But back in the day, I actually used to play a lot of them. Warcraft 3, Age of Empires. But there was this one, and it was like a weird niche game, and I haven't. They made a one and a two, and then it just disappeared. I think the studio closed, but it was called Black and White. And the premise of this game is you are the hand of God, and you decide, and you basically guide your little people to do what you want them to do. But the sorry, the hilarious thing is if you just for fun, or if they do something you don't want them to, you can pick up the people and you could just throw them across the map. And it, like, as a kid, like, you can imagine, it was just the funniest thing ever in the world. They made a second one and it was pretty good, and then it just disappeared. And uh, like I said, I'm not like a huge RTS guy, but it just makes me sad that the quality of games that we used to get on the limited hardware that they had like 10, 15 years ago was so good. And now games are so lazy and boring, and you know, they're live service, like we talked about the the Suicide Squad game last time. Like, it just is so boring. But I would love to see that game come back because it was like even 15 years ago when they made it or however long it was a great game. Like it was so cool, so fun, ahead of its time, and now it's just gone. So that's something I would love to see. But if you guys are interested, you could go like watch videos on it. It was a pretty cool game back in the day, but you can't even I don't even think you can buy it anymore. Like it's just gone.
Well, that sucks.
But yeah. So my a real quick story. My one of my older cousins, he had found, I think it must have been a pirated version, and he came over and he tried to put it on my dad's computer, and it was riddled with viruses, and it crashed my dad's computer, and it was like just gone after that. So, which was devastating back then because that's all me and my brother had. So, but yeah.
So, on the topic of me moving, I thought it would be fun if we all came up with some moving stories that maybe we have or don't have. So, yeah. What have we got, gentlemen?
So I actually have only ever moved once in my life from my childhood home to where I'm at now,
Oh, okay.
and nothing crazy. So if you guys have a better story than that, that would be awesome.
Okay. Go ahead, Scully.
Well, like I say, like out of all the times I've moved, like moving to like my first own home apartment would probably like the best feeling in the world. To be quite honest with you, because I finally get my place, privacy, and yeah, I can still talk to. It's like the feeling of just like being on your own is such a good feeling that that I don't want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stay alone forever.
I don't know if that's
Like most
sad or
people.
triumphant.
Hey, I mean, hey, I don't. I just come on here to get you guys used.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I do have one. It's so when I had first moved here to Arizona, my mom and I had to stay with my aunt, and uh, we stayed there for 8 months, and then we moved out into the place we are now moving out of where I'm at now. So, um, anyway, the day that we were moving out of my aunt's house, it was just me and my mom. My aunt and uncle were out somewhere, and so we had to do all the moving ourselves. So we were trying to get this like bed frame that they gave us out of the house and into the U-Haul. So we're trying to get it out, and I'm the first one out the door, and we're trying to figure out how to just like get it through the door without having to take it apart, because that would take like an additional 30 minutes, and then we were like kind of on a time limit because we had to get the U-Haul back by the like 5 p.m. or whatever. So we couldn't take it apart, but we had to get it through the door somehow. So I'm standing outside, and my mom is like, just like sitting there thinking, and so am I. And I can hear something at the corner of my ear from the house next door, and I know exactly what it is, but I just do not want to come to terms with what it is. I hear a woman participating in a physical act of love with another man, and it is loud, extraordinarily loud, that you could probably go down 2 blocks and you could hear it. And and
Damn.
this and my mom and I are just standing here trying to get this frame out through the door as quickly as we can, because it's just going on and on and on for like 5 or 10 minutes straight. And 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 then she stops, and then we get the bed frame through. Yes, we get it into the truck, and then we're just like packing up a bunch of other small stuff, and then while I'm walking back to the house from the truck, the garage door opens from the neighbor's house, and this like big chunky guy with a just covered in sweat with a towel wrapped around him and a towel around his waist, walks out to the car to get something and then goes back in. And then I can like take a peek inside their garage, and there's like a strip pole and stuff and like disco lights and
Oh my
oh,
god.
okay. So yeah, that's probably the most interesting moving story I've had.
That's that definitely beats mine.
Definitely beats mine too.
Had it in the garage, huh?
Yeah, apparently. Okay, so we had asked this question before, but since Scully is here, I wanted to bring it back, and I have another answer actually, and I'm hoping you do too, Cal. So, what was the worst illness or sickness you have ever had, or sickness that fell upon you? Last we talked about it, I believe you brought up your appendix, or maybe it was an accident, and then I brought up my diabetes, but I have something new, so yeah. All right, one of you guys can go first, though.
All right, I got one. So I actually, this sounds like I'm flexing. I'm not. Like, I just have not really been very sick in my life. Like, I mean, aside from like common cold and stuff, like, never really have had much other than my appendix. But there was this one time I went with, it was my cousin, but my friend who was my cousin. I went with him and his family to, it was like a 3 hour to a neighboring city. It was like 3 hours away, and we were going to like this big convention and all this stuff, and it wasn't super exciting because his dad it was for his dad's business. And but we were excited because we were just going to get to hang out at the hotel, and I was probably about 16 years old. We were just going to do young and stuff, like hang out and go do all, hit the town and all this stuff. Well, on the car right there, I just start getting the worst, like, just groin pain in my life. Like, I don't, and I still to this day don't know what happened or what was going on. But dude, I was just like writhing because like, I didn't want to say my groin hurts or my balls hurt or whatever, to his mom, because his mom and his sisters were in there too. And so I'm just trying so hard just to seem like nothing's wrong. But obviously there's something wrong with me. And I played it off pretty well because none of them said anything. And I remember I went into the hotel and I went into the bathroom, and I just like collapsed on the floor, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, is my testicle exploding inside? Like, I do not know. Like, and I still don't know what happened. I think it's called testicular torsion. Sorry to get medical on everyone, but I think that's what was going on, but I don't know. But dude, I was like not really sick as a dog, but like I felt so terrible. And I was in there for probably about an hour and a half. And I think they were like, is he okay? Like, what's going on here? But nobody said anything. They probably just thought I was, taking a giant dump or something. But yeah, that for me, and it just went away. And I've never had anything like that happen ever in my life since then. And I don't know what it was, dude. But yeah, I was hurting, dude. I was down bad, literally. So
Wow.
yeah. If it's never something small with me. It's something big. Like, maybe I'll find out I have testicular cancer later in life or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I hope not. But
Hmm.
yeah, dude, it was like, I mean, I don't want to. I'm not even gonna say that. I don't want to conflate it to something else, but it was like the worst pain I've had. It was close to my appendix rupturing. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah, I'm looking up testicular torsion on here because I have no idea what that is, but uh, basically cutting off blood is what it looks like, and this says urgent medical attention is usually recommended. Can be dangerous or life threatening. Very rare. Treatable by medical. Can last several months. Common for ages 12 to 16.
Yeah. See. Yeah, it's basically the spermatic cord is what it's called, that gives blood to your
Hmm.
try not to be too crude here, but to your
Yeah.
testicles. It basically twists, and
Right.
it cuts off blood supply. So, anyways,
Right.
what about you guys?
Do you want to go first, Riley, or do you want?
Yeah, sure, I'll go first. So this happened not long after I got here to Arizona, and I was staying at my aunt's house, and so like I just wanted to get out and explore Arizona, right? So my cousin and I were like, yeah, okay, we're gonna spend the summer going around and seeing sites and buildings and stuff. Well, we we go to an unknown, an alien, a foreign restaurant that I had never heard of, but I guess many people like, called Culver's, and I I'm like, okay, well, what does this place have? She's like, well, look at the menu. I'm scrolling through the menu while we're sitting in the drive-through lane. All right, well, burgers. All right, why not? I'll just order a simple burger. All right, not knowing the torture that is going to fall on me the next 2 days. So
Mm.
we leave the drive-through and we're kind of snacking on our way home, and then we eat when we get to the house. And that night, my cousin is stuck in the bathroom for like 20, 30 minutes throwing up, and she's super sick. And I'd like go to the store and get her some like medicine for that. And and then she was pretty much better the next day. And but me, like a day after I ate, I was bedridden. I couldn't do anything. That was the most I had ever thrown up in my entire life. I want to say I threw up maybe 4 or 5 times within like a day and a half, and and this was actually the closest that I ever got to blacking out. Besides the whole diabetes thing, because I remember, um, after this incident right here that I'm about to describe, I had to like be walked everywhere because I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet. So here's what happened. I went to the bathroom to throw up, and I couldn't do it. I sat there for like 10 minutes and I couldn't do it. I'm all right. I'm gonna go lay back down. So I'm walking out. I got my hand on the couch. I have a bucket in my left hand, and I just I start to fall backwards, and just a, and it all comes like just like a waterfall erupting, and it gets on the couch all over the floor. Then I just fall on my back and I black out for like half a second,
Oh,
and that was just terrible. And I was just covered in it, and man, so yeah, I had to rinse off after that. But yeah, it's nothing like that, man. That was just crazy. My only guess was food poisoning from Culver's, so I've never been there again, and I'm not going to. So yeah, that was bad.
That's fair. I don't think I'd go back either.
well, fortunately, I haven't been that sick ever yet in my life, and hopefully, I don't have to experience that. But there have been times where it's just like just like you just don't want to leave your bed. Like I remember like one time it was right around Christmas, I think. And I just remember just like the way I could experience like explain like fever I had was like you know in Home Alone, he Harry opens the back door and a blowtorch just like blasts his head. That's what it felt like. That's how bad the fever was. And like I just felt like weighted down in bed. Like I like it was hard getting up and out of bed. It was just like I think it was just the fever, but like it was a really bad fever. It lasted like a couple of days, but it was still I just couldn't like do. I was just not active.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't like throwing up or anything, but like it's just it's just one of the worser times I've gotten sick.
Yeah.
But, like I don't really get sick too often, but when I do, I it's like really bad.
Hmm.
Well, I'm glad you don't really get sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can flex on that.
It's a flex. Yeah.
That's a flex.
Like I said, mine are just weird random things that happen. So
All right, Kyle. Well, I think we have one more question, one more topic for the night.
yeah. So what is the most absurd reason you have seen somebody get fired or you have gotten fired from a job? And
Okay,
I've got one if you guys need to think for a minute.
I I've got one too. So at my most recent job that I just handed in my 2 weeks to, last week, there was this guy who was there for maybe a month, and he was part of the inventory team. So like my job was I would be in like shelves upon shelves, and I was on the second floor of this warehouse where there was just boxes, a plethora of boxes, and sometimes the inventory team would have to go up there and count all the pieces box by box, bin by bin, aisle by aisle, and this it was one of those times, and this guy was up there, and he was he was pretty cool. I guess I didn't really get to know him. But one day he he comes up to me and he's like, "Dude, I just handed in my 2 weeks, dude. I'm done here. You won't believe what just happened." And I'm like, "Tell me, let me know." So um, he starts. He's like, "Yeah, so I really, really, really had to go to the bathroom, and my boss wouldn't let me." And I'm like, uh, okay, go on. And so he was like, yeah, she's just a bitch and the C word and all this stuff, and she shouldn't be working here. And apparently they had this whole like intervention with HR because this guy, according to him, just wanted to go to the bathroom. Maybe he was taking excessive bathroom breaks during like production hours or whatever. But I don't know. But from his side of the story, he was like, "Yeah, all I wanted to do was go to the bathroom," and she was getting mad at me. That fat bitch, I can't believe it. And then he said that he had like recorded their whole like conversation about her like breaking down and crying and stuff with HR, and his last words to me on his last day were, "Dude, I'm gonna post this on TikTok and get famous. You just wait and see." Which I had never heard from him or saw any of that, so I guess that didn't happen. So yeah, I mean, that's probably the craziest reason I've seen people like, for example, at my hotel job who let me let me ask you guys if you've had this kind of similar thought process or know someone who has. At my hotel job, I don't think a single person besides me actually finished out their 2 weeks when they gave their 2 weeks notice. And there was this guy that I was working at my most recent job who was like, "I can't do my 2 weeks, dude. Like every job that I've ever done, I just can't do it. I will I will tell them I'm quitting and that's it. That's my last day." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. Well, to each his own, I guess." I mean, he's still gotten jobs, so whatever. But yeah, that's just something that I've noticed, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. From what it's not it's not like an actual legal or responsibility to serve out to work for the 2 weeks. It's like a formal thing. The worst that can happen is when your next job calls for references, they can say he didn't stick around for his 2 weeks notice. Uh, that's funny. What about you, Scully? You got one? I've got one if you still need to think. Or you're welcome to go ahead.
It's not even an absurd one. It's just kind of like a shocking how it kind of just unfolded for him getting fired. Because like I work at a coffee shop, so it's like it basically his shifts are basically like randomized. So it's not like a 9 to 5. It's like you could be doing 7 to 3, 8 to 4, 5, those kind of shifts, midnight even. And this one shift I was working on midnight with and this was like 4 or 5 years ago, so it's like this was like a long. But basically, like during the nights, like like where I work, because it's only a small, basically. There's like only two people on back, because like it's not really busy and there's not really need for like that much staff at night because it's not busy. And I don't recall exactly what happened or like how it escalated to that point. All I just remember is like hearing just like a loud like boom at at one of the walls at some point during the night, and it turns out I don't know if it was a customer got under his skin a bit, but what he told me was after he served her, he took the headset off and he just shocked it at a wall as fast and hard as he could. And needless to say, he was definitely fired after that. It's that's only it's not even absurd. It's just shocking. I was not even expecting it to happen. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so mine. So I've mentioned on here before. I worked at an assisted living facility, a place where old people go to retire, basically. Um, and I worked the night shift, and I worked with like healthcare in general is like 90. I don't know the statistic. It's like 90% female. It's like a huge number is female. And so it stands to reason that with that, there's a lot of, I will say, without trying to sound too insensitive, needless female drama that I need not concern myself with, but somehow I would always get in the middle of it somehow. I don't know how. Uh, there were these, so the two girls I worked with on nights for like a year and a half, like we were the night shift. Like we basically ran the night shift on the nights we worked. Well, we did. It was just us three there. But we were known as like the main night shift people because the other nights there were people like it was always kind of weird. Like they would always have to find other people to fill in. But we always had these certain nights. And we were really good friends and we did all this stuff. We made it work because we worked really well together, I'll say. But unbeknownst to me, there was all this drama brewing between the day shift girls and the night shift girls. And on the day shift, there was this one girl who was the boss, or not the boss, but kind of like the main, like the boss's assistant, I will say. And she was a very spiteful, jealous person. And for whatever reason, she was really jealous of one of the girls I worked with. And it was like, and I remember just having my mind blown by some of the things that she would tell me because they actually had a class in college together at the same time, and they would be like best friends during class, and they would like sit by each other and work together. And then like as soon as they were out of class, she would hear like this other girl saying all this, it's drama. It's just like needless drama that I wasn't even aware of. But anyways, it got like we worked together for a long time, but it started to get really strained at work. And this girl that I worked with, she would get called in and she would get chewed out for stuff that she didn't even have anything to do with. And what it really was this the boss's assistant was telling the boss that this girl was doing all this stuff that was wrong when she wasn't even there some of the nights. And anyways, and I know because I was there, like I witnessed what they were claiming happened and none of it ever happened, like abuse and like all this stuff. And it's like, no, that stuff never happened. But anyways, but the third girl, she was good, but she made a lot of when she was the med tech, so the one that deals with the medicine, she made a couple of mistakes and they had kind of like given her a hard time for it. But she made a couple, and so that one kind of makes sense. But anyways, so what the way it happened was I was already ready to quit. Like I had put in my 2 weeks notice. I was gonna do the 2 weeks, but then I get a text from one of these people, and they're like, I just got fired, and I'm like, what? Why? because we were supposed to work the next 3 shifts together, and then I was done. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't know who I'm going to work with now because they already are short staffed. I know it's a long story. I'm sorry. But, and then I got a text like a couple of hours later from the other one, sorry, I didn't. We were in a group text. Sorry. And the other one was like, dude, I just got fired. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because what that means is I'm going to be, and this was like literally, it was like an hour, maybe 2 before we were supposed to go into work. And what that means is I'm going to be doing all the work by myself, taking care of like 80 plus people all by myself, because I know they're not going to have anyone in there. And I was pissed off. Like, first of all, I knew like that nothing wrong had happened with the one girl. The other one had maybe made a med error. So it may be understandable, but still, like, you got, like, you don't just fire them on the spot for that. But anyways, after that, when I heard that, I got on my phone and I didn't call because it was like after hours. And I left my boss a message and I said, don't expect me to come in. If you're going to just start firing people left, right, and center, then I'm not going to come in and I'm not going to work for a company that does that to people that have put in a lot of hard work. So figure it out. And she didn't say anything to me. And I didn't go back in for my next 3 shifts. And yeah. But point is there, I don't know what happened. It was like this weird like rivalry between 2 girls that ended up getting the other 2 fired, and I just quit on the spot. But it was a weird place because it was run by primarily like 18 to 19-year-old girls that thought they knew what was going on in the world. But
That's crazy. I've never heard that like happen before.
it blew me away because the boss was so aloof from what was actually going on, and like she took her assistant's word for it that this is the stuff that was actually going on, and like they never gave her a reason. They just told her she was fired. Like I mean it's weird, but yeah.
Wow.
I mean, didn't super affect me because I was quitting anyways, but it felt really good to just be like, you know what, screw you, I'm not coming in. Like, if you're just gonna fire people that are actually good, like I grudgingly worked there, but this other girl was actually really good at her job and she excelled and she like helped out. She would stay late to do all this stuff, even though we'd been up all night. And so yeah, it was just like it was like a drama thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all for the night. We're gonna end it off here.
Shout yourself out, Scully. Where can the people find you?
Gallbasher 5, Twitch.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for watching. Subscribe, like the video, share it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.